When publisher Take-Two Interactive bought BMG's interactive division, they weren't getting a lot of high-selling titles. The one franchise that showed some promise was a top-down 2D driver, Grand Theft Auto. As the BMG veterans founded their new studio, Rockstar Games, they looked to reinvent the nerdy industry into a cultural icon, betting the farm that GTA could make gaming cool. The result was 2001's Grand Theft Auto 3, a game aimed squarely at mature audiences. Tackling everything from murder to drugs to carjacking, it violently went against the grain and drew the ire of parents and politicians alike. Needless to say, it was the best-selling game of the year. Rockstar now had the money and prestige to do whatever they wanted. And what they wanted was to push their luck right to the hilt. Just before GTA 3 had released in October 2001, developer Remedy delivered Max Payne to the PC. Rockstar immediately saw the potential for the series since its dark, adult twist on gaming was in line with their own ambitions. And so, Rockstar purchased the Max Payne IP outright and ported the game to consoles in December of 2001. That made for 2 hit games in only 2 months. The publisher had shot straight to the top. Which didn't mean that everything they touched turned to gold. In early 2002, they released State of Emergency, a riot game about an urban uprising against the establishment. While it nominally adhered to GTA's anarchic style, the game had all of the freeform and none of the focus. The title bombed commercially. It didn't faze them in the least. Knowing that GTA was their greatest asset and that only Scottish developer DMA Design could be trusted with the phenomenon, Rockstar bought the studio in 2002. DMA was now Rockstar North, and they already had a game in the works. They opted to push out a new GTA as quickly as possible, only barely updating the old engine. But there would be no danger of treading old ground, because GTA was traveling back in time. Taking healthy inspiration from 80s icons like Miami Vice and Scarface, it took the over-the-top hyper-stylization of GTA 3 and shot it to Florida, 1986. Based off of Vice City from the original Grand Theft Auto, this city would be positively drenched in neon, pastels, bad tans, and coked-out mobsters. Rockstar's signature attention to atmosphere would be present in spades, with Rockstar founders Sam and Dan Houser personally making sure that everything in the game adhered to one aesthetic. And that aesthetic was 80s camp to the nth degree. But the Housers still wanted to be pushing the boundaries of what games should strive for. For their vocal talent, Rockstar assembled an all-star cast, including Ray Liotta as the lead character, Dennis Hopper, James Woods, Peter Fonda, and who else but Jenna Jameson. The stigma that video games weren't respectable work for an actor was starting to fade. The game was even more ridiculous than its precursor, but featured the same insane attention to every last detail. Gameplay-wise, it was largely the same, but with more vehicles, weapons, and missions than ever before. It also added in a real estate economy that gamers could use to become legitimate land barons. Though of course being legit in GTA's world was next to impossible. Despite all the uproar over GTA 3's violence, the follow-up would still have players beating up cops and civilians alike. Meanwhile, Rockstar started plastering posters all over cities around the world, a marketing tactic usually reserved for music acts. Not content to break new ground in the game itself, this title would herald a whole new age of gaming promotion. It immediately gave Grand Theft Auto a certain street cred and cultural status no game had even attempted before. You're just not a Rockstar if you follow the rules. Grand Theft Auto Vice City released in October 2002, and once again sold like gangbusters. It did generate some more controversy from media watchdogs, upset about the developer's refusal to tone down the themes. They could have backed off and gone the safe route at this point. They didn't. Rockstar North decided to take a break from jacking cars so that they could focus on the murdering. 2003 would see the release of Manhunt, one of the most wantonly violent games ever produced. It followed an executed felon who was saved from death by a psychotic director who wanted to film him killing wave after wave of gangsters. But really, what the game was about was bloody, bloody murder. Over and over and over again. It featured some of the most gruesome, detailed, and grotesque animations ever rendered. But that wasn't enough for Rockstar. Oh no. Before the title's release, Rockstar upped the ante again by sending an actual barbed wire garrote to journalists reviewing the game. Once again, the shock value wouldn't be limited to the game itself. Of course, such a thing couldn't come out without a backlash. The game was banned in New Zealand, effectively banned in Australia, confiscated in Munich, and blamed for a teen murder in the UK, although it was later revealed that it was actually the victim who played the game. But once again, controversy did nothing to slow sales. It may not have been Grand Theft Auto, but Manhunt still became an iconic title that helped define Rockstar as the counterculture brand of the new millennium. With all the fame and attention, the Housers were rumored to let it all go to their heads, routinely insulting and degrading their own employees. But despite their soaring egos, they never lost their focus on even the most microscopic details in their games. If they thought of themselves as the peak of the gaming world, at least they kept earning the title. And they'd earn it again in 2004 with the best-selling Theft of them all. Tune in next time to see the biggest game and the biggest controversy in Rockstar's history.